So Kimberly, when people talk about falling in and out of love, I remember doing a workshop in Corona, California, many years ago, when a particular lady who was in the workshop, she was an architect. When I explained the process of how people fall in love and out of love, she actually began to weep, and I asked her what I had done to offend her. And she said, I thought what I had with my lover, she was there with her husband, I thought what I had with my lover was something magic and special. And you just taught me that basically it's like architecture. If you do certain things occur. And it shocked her to her core.
Yeah. And that's part of what makes what we've done in our research and our experience with couples unique, is we realize that there is a process that people can follow, that if they follow it, they will fall in love. But if they stop following that process, then they can fall out of love, even if they don't mean to. And that's where many married couples end up. They stop following that process somewhere along the line after a couple of years or more of marriage, and wake up one day and say, I don't feel in love with this person anymore. But we can teach you how to fall back in love.
As a matter of fact, I see these programs advertised on television like Married at First Sight and things like that. Never seen it. I just seen the title. And I'm thinking, they're talking to the wrong people. Because we can actually show them the process that any two people, if they both follow the process, will fall in love with each other, whether they want to or not. But as we learn the process, if they start doing it backwards, which you're talking about a minute ago, then they fall out of love. And most people never understood the process they went through to get in love. Therefore, they don't understand what they're doing in the process to fall out of love.
So ignoring the red flags because you want to see the good in people will cost you later. You cannot live in a lie. Red flags are there so that you guys in a relationship can sort things out. If a person does not like growing and sorting things out, leave them. You have limited time to find the right life partner. When you settle for crumbs, you will always be starving. Have standards for the people you date. As I said before, if you see red flags and people don't want to change and grow, which I regard as one of the most important character traits, leave them. Stop making dating marriage. The purpose of dating is not to marry the first guy or girl you've dated, but to find the right marriage partner. So if there are red flags and people don't want to sort it out, leave them. You have limited time. So if you break up in a dating relationship, it doesn't mean you dislike the person or wish them bad. Look at this quote. A part of maturity is learning to love someone from a distance, to keep their well-being in your prayers, but take a path away from them. So stop making dating marriage. You are here to find the right marriage partner. That means you must maybe leave a few people you courted or got to know better. Don't just grab the first person. Okay, just a quick recap here. So a person is attracted to someone for approximately 4 reasons: physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. So just before going a bit deeper into the spiritual, which we haven't covered yet, I just want to cover a base here on that a person is not only attracted to someone for the physical, like beauty and charm. The smarter the woman is, the more difficult it is to find the right man. That is really the goal. That physical is not just the only thing. Be the reason someone feels welcomed, seen, heard, valued, loved, and supported. I spoke about finding someone you like and admire. They are admirable kinds of people. So look at this little video clip here about the guy who's very well built. He's also attractive, but when he takes his shirt off, it seems like he gets a lot more attention. This is really sad. And if that is the kind of base people are looking at the opposite sex for marriage, the future does not look good.
What is up, guys? So it is New Year's Eve, and I'm giving out free hugs. All right, so we're starting out just like this, and then the shirt is gonna come off, and we're gonna see which is more successful. Let's get started. Bro, I like that. I'm digging your scarf. At least a fist bump. Why is no one giving me a hug, man? Why is no one giving me a hug? Hey, we got the same hat going on. All right. Hey.
And most importantly, to know that when you first fall in love, the brain chemicals and hormones that get produced are the same hormones if you were taking cocaine. So it literally is like a drug high.
Everything you want, let me talk to you.
Bring it down! Bring it down!
That is that falling in love is not enough for a sustainable marriage. What do you mean by that?
Well, I wish I had known that, Jim. And the reason the experience of falling in love is not an adequate foundation for marriage is it's temporary. We've studied it. It has a 2-year lifespan. That's the average. Some a little more, some a little less, but average 2 years you're in this euphoric state where you just feel like this is the most wonderful person in the world. There's nothing wrong with them. They're absolutely perfect.
The thing is, great relationships are built, not found. You don't find someone and then go on that fallen in love feeling the rest of your life, the rest of your marriage. Great relationships do not come from lazy, negligent, attractive people. So many attractive people, obviously, people can get very excited about dating and going out with. But if you are lazy and negligent and don't push and grow these 4 traits, you will go downhill how people feel about you. You can even compare it to a dog. If you have a beloved pet, a dog, and you are negligent over time, and lazy and don't do effort, the relationship deteriorates. The currency of a relationship is effort. So let's just go over these quickly again. Here's a red flag. Every time I addressed something that bothered me, I became the problem. Watch out for people with victim mentalities, and that whenever you have a problem, they don't act in love and want to sort out your problem, but they want to get out of there. Don't marry such people. Being brilliant at problem solving is a form of love and very important for finding the right marriage partner. Look for that in people.
So the last one is
spiritual attraction. We tend to look and are attracted to people who we believe have a similar beliefs, a similar set of beliefs and values as we do, or a greater than, a better set of beliefs and values than we do.
Okay, and so we call those the pies: physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. And you're going to be attracted to another person in at least one of those ways, if not all four. You might say, well, if I run into this beautiful, gorgeous woman and she's a 10, then maybe I won't even notice the others to begin with. To begin with, maybe not. You see, physical attraction is most important in short-term relationships. When people are looking for long-term relationships, the one that's most important is the E, the emotion. You might say, well, if I run into this beautiful, gorgeous woman and she's a 10, then maybe I won't even notice the others to begin with. To begin with, maybe not. You see, physical attraction is most important in short-term relationships. When people are looking for long-term relationships, the one that's most important is the E, the emotion. And so the attraction is the first part of it. That's what sets it up. But really what makes it into a relationship?
Yeah. It's moving into that second stage of the love path, which is what we call, I don't know if we mentioned it, our process that we use for how people fall in love is called the love path. That first step, if it's attraction, which it is, then the second one they go into is acceptance. And that one basically asks the question, with everything I know about this person, can I accept them for who they are without trying to change them?
Which, there was always a joke when I was growing up that men marry women thinking they will never change, and women marry men thinking they definitely will change.
That's right.
So acceptance is not based on the fact that I'm going to form you into whatever shape I want you to be. It's based on the fact that I can accept you as you are, which is difficult because of the fact that you're flawed, just like I'm flawed.
It is difficult. And that's why this stage can be... Well, let me say it this way. I believe when people are dating, when they come to this stage, there's a lot of things they still don't know about the other person because they've seen the best of the other person on the first couple of dates. And so what they're accepting about that person is pretty easy to accept. But it's as you go deeper into the relationship, and especially after you get married, because you don't know everything about a person just because you say, I do. You find out way more, and more life circumstances happen as you get married, to where you really begin to be challenged with, can I accept and do I continue to accept this person as they are? And that's why people can begin to fall out of love. One of many reasons on our path, but this one I think is one of the first ones we come up to, which is we begin to really question, do I accept that?
Some people will never grow because they can't hear without getting offended. Sorting out problems and wanting to change and grow is one of the most important traits you must look for in people. As you grow, the people you knew will start feeling like strangers if they do not grow with you. Do not marry anyone. Do not court or date anyone who does not want to grow. You will drift systematically apart till the chasm between you is massive. A lot of men want a good woman until it requires them to be a better man. Pick someone who is prepared to put in the work that you are putting in to match you in effort and in growth and in problem solving. Lazy, negligent, attractive people do not build anything good in relationships. No matter how attractive they are, if they're lazy and negligent, that relationship will go downhill.
Why is this guy still with his wife when she's not in the same kind of shape she used to be? It will be because of the fact that the intellectual attraction and or emotional attraction and or spiritual attraction, either one, two, or all three of those are so strong that it actually is more important to him than the physical attraction. Not saying the physical goes away, but when the others are more important, and that's why you can still be madly in love with each other when you're 90 years old and you're hobbling around on your canes. How many times have we heard about Hollywood celebrities who were married to very famous and very attractive people who end up having affairs with, say, their maid or their nanny? And when you see a picture of the maid or the nanny, then you start saying, physically, there's no comparison. The wife is gorgeous physically and all those kinds of things. So why would this man wind up losing his marriage and other things that go with that because of being involved with this woman who physically can't compete with his bride? It would be because of the fact that there may not be a very strong emotional connection with the wife, or intellectual, or even spiritual. And when those things are missing, it leaves a vacuum. It leaves a hole in us because we're made to be fulfilled physically, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually. Another way to say that would be body, mind, heart, and soul. And when that's not there, we become susceptible to having that relationship with other people because of the emptiness we feel. So you may look wonderful in public. So if we talk about how people fall in love, they go through attraction into acceptance. And how do they fall out of love?
Really don't even think it's rocket science, and it's part of what we've already covered. After being married or with someone for a period of time, you get habituated. You get used to each other, and you begin to realize the things about them that aren't quite what you wish that they would be. The things they did that maybe you thought were really sweet and quirky when you were dating now annoy you. And so it's those things that you try to get the other person to change.
Here's something to remember about that. Accepting the person as he or she is when you first marry them. Understand that each of you over time will change. Now, you may change dramatically based on circumstances and situations. You may just have minor changes. But the acceptance that you had for each other at the outset will not be the same level of acceptance you have for each other at the 10-year mark or 20 years or 30 years. Because the acceptance thing is not just a once and for all. You have to continue to know each other, learn each other.
You didn't sign up for that. And it's not a behavior that you should necessarily accept, but we're not talking about accepting the behavior. We're talking about accepting the person.
There you go.
Can you view the two things differently enough to say, I love and accept you for who you are, but also love you enough to realize that this is a behavior that's going to hurt you and is going to hurt the people that you love.
So continuing to grow in love means you always take care of the physical, intellectual, emotional, spiritual, as long as you live. But at the same time, it means that you continue to try to grow together. And if one of you chooses a path that the other person just cannot accept, that's when you're going to hit a major crisis. And it will become then, how do you deal with that? But we can help you go through that. If you're thinking, boy, this all sounds Pollyannish, like everybody can do this. Yes, you can, but sometimes you do have to put your foot down. But that's a topic for a little bit later down the road.
Either I grow with you or I outgrow you. I'm not standing still for anyone. Extremely important. The Bible says, do not come or appear before God when you die with the same amount of talents or less. Growth is not an option for a Christian. Find a marriage partner that loves learning and growing.